didn't know that. Nice to meet you, sir. I'm going to be your guide tonight. Tonight we are going to be visiting some notorious locations around the mid-Michigan area. A lot of them places that you're not going to learn about in any history books or in school or anything like that, because they have just some really dark history attached to them. Some of them are rumored to be hotspots for paranormal activity. Some of them are subjects of international headlines, novels, movies. So just some really interesting places that we're going tonight. Okay? Now I asked you guys to meet me here. I dropped it again. Earl is not behaving. Yeah. So I asked you guys to meet me here tonight, not just because it's a parking lot right by the highway, which is super convenient, but because this is actually our first step on our tour. So if you want to follow me this way, we can talk about that a little bit.
Got me. Are you recording? Oh, let's do a paranormal vlog. People call it vlogs now. I've been doing Snapchat.
It is currently 7:06 p.m.
Day one.
We are in East Lansing. We are about to go on this trip. We may or may not die. We'll check back later.
Lansing, 1900s. As we all know, auto industry boom kind of hit really hard, really fast. And they couldn't get people... Seriously? He just stuck right there. No.
It's Earl.
I'll just hold it. They couldn't build houses fast enough. For the people that were moving here, they wanted jobs. People from all over the world were coming to the area looking for work. So that Lansing was kind of considered a melting pot for different ethnicities and different cultures. And that is why the Little family decided they wanted to move here. Don't record that. They record that. Not even joking. They moved to Wisconsin. They didn't stay there for very long, so they came here. They settled in Lansing in 1926, but that threat followed them. Earl very quickly became known as a troublemaker because he was very outspoken about equal rights, black pride, economic self-reliance, and that was not things that were real popular ideas around here at the time. So they drew the attention of a group called, ironically, the Black Legion. Of the Black Legion, they were similar to the KKK, kind of just a spin-off of them. A vigilante, white supremacist group that kind of had control of the Midwest and terrorized people of color in the area at that time. In 1929, the Little family's house burned down in the middle of the night. The whole family was asleep inside, and the house caught on fire. They all got out alive. The fire department stood around and watched it burn to the ground, and then ruled it an accident. So they moved out to East Lansing. Out in East Lansing, they had a little bit easier time, but they still kind of had a hard time with finances. And so they raised poultry and rabbits and other small game, and they sold them for food. So, September 28, 1931, Earl and his 2-year-old son Filbert left the house to go to the north side of Lansing to collect money that people owed them for food. By that night, Earl was dead. He had been run over by the rear trucks of a streetcar right here. He had his son with him at the time. They went and got his wife. He was still alive. By the time she got to him, he was dead. He had been basically cut in half. They ruled it an accident instantly. There was no investigation, but it didn't take long for people to start talking and saying that the Black Legion was responsible. So the family kind of had to live with that. You know, they stayed in the area, and there was just all this talk about how the Black Legion had killed Earl Little and gotten away with it. Louise, his wife, after a few years, had a nervous breakdown. and she was sent to live in a mental hospital in Kalamazoo, where she spent the rest of her life. The kids were all put in foster care. One of those sons of the 8 children, rumored to be Earl's favorite, his 4th son, decided that he was going to take up his father's cause and fight against oppression and fight for equal rights. And we all know him today as Malcolm X. This is where Malcolm X's dad was murdered by white supremacists, right here on this court. So, tonight we're going to be coming to lots of locations like this, just random pieces of history that people kind of have forgotten about, still located in neighborhoods where things go on and people just pass it every day and they don't know. Also some haunted locations, so again, if you're into that kind of thing, cool. If you're not, the van's warm. So we can go back to the van now and we'll get going.
Well, I support his I don't know his name.
This is Malcolm X's parents, right?
No, that's Malcolm X.
No, that's...
Wait,
this is Malcolm X's dad, that guy.
And mom.
That's the guy that got shot, and the picture was following the whole time. Interesting.
The plot thickens.
At a lot of these locations, Yuri and Kat are going to kind of go off on their own. I ask that you stay with me till I'm done with my story, and then you can go. They've heard it before, they've been here before, so that's that. Okay, so we're at May 28th, 1927. Parents kiss their kids goodbye, send them here to the consolidated school. A little later that morning, neighbors of the Kehoes noticed smoke coming from the property. So they went running to the house to see what was on fire, see if they could help, and they found Andrew Kehoe leaving. He was leaving in his truck and he said, "You better get out of here, boys. You're my friends. You need to get down to the school." But they didn't. He took off. He left. They didn't. They stayed. And what they found shortly after was that he had tied all of his farm animals up in the barn so that they couldn't escape the fire. They also found the wife of his body, or the wife of his body, the body of his wife, in a wheelbarrow in the shed. She'd just been released from the hospital the day before because, remember, she was very sick. He had killed her, put her in a wheelbarrow, put her in the barn, tied up all his animals, and blew them up. Wired him with explosives and blew up his house, blew up his barn. And as his neighbors are trying to make sense of what's happening and what they can do and how to put out the fire and what happened, they hear another explosion from further away. From here. Authorities would later find out that over the course of several months while working as an electrician at the school, he had somehow smuggled in 1,000 pounds of dynamite into a children's school. I just can't imagine. He planted 500 pounds under the south wing, 500 pounds under the north wing. So on that day, on May 28th, 1927, was the day. They were set to explode. They exploded under the south end of the school. They exploded under the north end of the school. The explosive planted there had detonated, killed many of the 2nd to 6th graders that were housed in that wing of the school. The 500 pounds that he had planted under the south wing did not explode. They think that the device that he set up shorted out from the blast of the first explosion. So that saved many lives that day because only half of the school exploded instead of the entire thing. So as you can see, we're in a neighborhood. Everybody heard it. Everybody saw it. Everybody knew that every child that lived in this town was in that building. And they came running. And they're looking for survivors, and they're looking for their children, and they're trying to help the injured children that are climbing out of the rubble, and the teachers. And Andrew Kehoe pulls up in his car. His truck has been loaded with explosives and shrapnel. And he sees the superintendent, who he hates, and he calls him over to his truck, and the two men start to fight, and he detonates the explosives in his car. Kills him, kills the superintendent, kills several other people that were on the location trying to help, including a little boy that had gotten out of his classroom that had blown up and was being treated for his injuries, and he died during the second explosion. 45 people died here on that day. Most of them were children from 2nd to 6th grades. 58 more people were seriously injured. You'll find when we go up a little further, all of their names are on these bricks up here that circle this little structure there. When the criminals were investigating Andrew Kehoe's house and trying to put everything together and figure out what had happened, they found a sign that he had made and attached to his fence, and it said, "Criminals are made, not born." They rebuilt the school on this same site in 1928, and then they tore it down for good in the 70s, and the elementary school and the middle school and the high school all became different buildings, and they're all over there. They kept the cupola, though. That structure there is a piece of the original school, and they kept that there as a memorial, and they put in this memorial park. Because, as I stated, even though this was going on 100 years ago, it's still the deadliest school massacre in American history. It's also rumored to be a spot for paranormal activity. Lots and lots of it. People come from all over the country here to investigate. Kat was here with us last time. She picked up on a few things. Gary's been out here a few times investigating. So at this point, if you guys have questions for them, if they want to talk at all about what they've experienced here, and then if you want to walk around, take pictures, if anybody really has to use the bathroom, there's some porta potties right there. But when everybody's ready, we can get back on the bus and go back to our next location. And I'll walk this way. First.
So do you like sense a lot of activity here, or does it like hit and miss depending on when you come out here?
Here we approach the parked mystery machine outside a speedway. Now we enter. We are going to this haunted house now. No. We are going to this haunted house. I don't know where, but we're in Mason. We are entering the machine.
Oh, yeah.
I am sitting now.
He's sitting there.
Are you gonna go in this house, JJ?
Am I going in the house? I don't know. It depends.
Yeah, so we could stay out with anyone who wanted to stay out.
I'm probably staying out,
I'm
but
staying out. You staying out here? I'm going in.
Yeah, I'm going.
alright, well, I guess I'll go in. I don't know if I'll film though, so you know.
Oh, yeah.
You need to clean your ears. Look at that. That's gross. What you got there?
It's theirs. Oh, there you go.
Is she from here?
Alright. We'll be back.
Hey.
Gross, creepy, and creepy.
We're gonna
see that bomb. You're recording, JJ.
We're gonna get attacked
Austin.
by Henrietta.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey there. Tour guide.
Do not record me.
Alright.
Don't be as scared of the ghost. Be as scared of me.
Michael, come take. But what if Mom is a ghost?
That's possible. This could be like the sixth sense. You never know.
We can all just see.
Yeah, but we can all see. The plot thickens.